Sunrise Extra on a Tuesday. Drew would really appreciate a stupid rhyme like that, Brenda, but he's
yes,
off
he would.
this week.
I know, I miss Drew. Hopefully he's having a nice time.
Don't
week
tell
off.
him that we miss him. He'll get a big head.
Oh,
all right.
My gosh.
We are talking today on this Tuesday, what is it, July 21st, because today is exactly 6 months to the day that the first United States coronavirus case was diagnosed. That guy up in Everett, Washington, diagnosed with coronavirus after visiting China. And boy, have we lived 10 lifetimes in between now and then.
We really have. I mean,
it's gone by like slow and fast, I feel like.
All the things that happened. I just feel like there was a sense of, speaking for myself, naivete back then, pre-COVID. We had no idea what we were in for. You know, it was kind of like something far away. Even, you know, though it was up in Washington, it just didn't seem real. And every time something new happened, I was like, oh my gosh, and now here we are.
Yeah.
I shudder to think what the next 6 months are gonna look like.
Right, it's just, I mean, yeah, we've lived so long. I mean, it's gone by slow and fast. I just can't believe it's, you know, midsummer. I mean, boy, it's almost August. It's just nutty that, you know, and you notice it when you see people, like for me, when I see coworkers on Zoom calls, if I haven't gone into our, you know, like morning editorial meeting call in, you know, a few days or weeks, and then you get to see everyone's little square faces in there, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about so-and-so, or I haven't heard this person's voice in forever. And it really kind of hits there. So we're asking you guys, thank you always for chatting live with us. How are you doing? What's been the craziest? I mean, really anything, you know, in these 6 months that you guys would like to talk to us about.
My producer is just saying in our ear, producer Rob, that we have the Johns Hopkins map up. So it kind of takes a look there at where cases stand right now. 140,909. That is just here in the U.S. That's right. Rob, tell me again, what were you just saying in my ear?
Sorry about that.
3.8 million cases in the U.S. Do you remember, like, back when this started and people were saying it's just like the flu? It's not bad.
I said that.
You know, it's just a cold. Yeah. It's just this. And boy, did we get schooled.
And it all started, it all started from that Japanese cruise ship. Remember, there was a lot of,
was it the Princess?
And there was the Forest Grove woman who was on a cruise with her husband. They were docked in Tokyo, and she tested positive, and she had to go into isolation in a hospital. She really she wasn't that sick, she said. She really didn't have many symptoms, but they, of course, quarantined her for a long time, first on the ship and then the hospital. And we were doing, you know, like video chats with her about what it was like. Never thinking in a million years, you know. I kind of thought of like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with like her friends and family when she comes back to Forest Grove.
Right.
People, there she is. What's her name again? Rebecca Frazier. And so, yeah, I was just saying it would be interesting to kind of catch up with her now that she may have, you know, some great antibodies, and but there's a lot to learn about all of this.
So I'm just tracking our Facebook live stream. Good morning to everybody who's watching. Always love chatting with you guys. Let's see, Jennifer Taft. I miss going to work and worry that I don't know when I will be going back. I have a chronic health condition that makes being a preschool teacher challenging and unsafe.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, where was it? Remind me, where was it? The teachers union that just was at Florida. That's right, the teachers union that that sued the district down there, one of them, saying we don't want to come back to school in the fall. We don't feel it's safe. So a lot of your colleagues definitely can relate to that. Renee Lopez says, so much death in my family. It was heartbreaking. Couldn't go to any services.
I know.
Condolences. Such a tough time.
Yeah, and so many people, you know, that's just the crazy part of this. And I remember the first time it was in Clark County, Washington, when the first couple of cases happened in our, you know, viewing area was Clark County. And the medical director really kind of it turned on the light for me, and he said, you know, we have this, it was a married couple, a man and a woman who died of coronavirus, was the first in our area. And he said, you know, what's really heart-wrenching that you don't think about is the family can't be with them in, you know, in the ER or in their hospital room. They can't have a memorial service because of distancing and all of that kind of stuff, and it really just kind of puts it in perspective. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, but that day I remember fixing dinner and sitting down to eat, and we'd come in from outside, and I saw some alert on my phone that Tom Hanks had tested positive, and I'm like, whoa, that's okay, Tom Hanks. And then right after that, it was the NBA. You know, the game was stalled because someone was taking the test, and then the game was canceled, and then the season was canceled. It was like, oh my gosh. And then I remember saying to you, Brenda, well, you know, what else could possibly happen? What else could close? And you were like, yeah, shopping malls.
Lots of things.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Producer Rob again telling me it was back in February, I think you said the 28th, Rob, that the first cases in our area in Oregon happened. It was that Lake Oswego school. You know, I remember still being at a work get-together. It was downtown. It was before really everything had hit the fan. And I was talking to our general manager, and he lived like, you know, a couple blocks from that school. And I was like, oh, I wanted to start taking a step back, even though there was absolutely no reason. It was sinking in a little bit. You know, it just hits closer to home, closer to home, closer to home.
Yeah.
Dawn Kimlinger on our Facebook live stream says different anxiety. As we get closer to a good vaccine, I'm a bit hopeful. Me too. At the beginning, I was quite worried and hopeless. I wear a mask out in public, inside or outside. At work. If I need to get near anybody, she's wearing a mask. The isolation was depressing with the shutdown. My living situation is different, and I don't feel so depressed. I posted this also on my personal Facebook page for work, or I guess not my personal, my work Facebook page, not the grand KGW account, and that's what somebody else was saying. It's like, they're like, I feel really depressed. You know, just not being able to be with your peeps, your family, the people that you love, to actually have contact and hug somebody. If you're not living with other people, that is rough.
I just thank the weather right now, you know, for just sunshine, to be able to go out and get some fresh air.
100%.
Can really turn your mood around. I worry about the fall. But checking it on YouTube this morning. Hello, everyone watching us on YouTube. Marita Berg says, good morning to you ladies. Jason Troyer watching us from Roseburg. Good morning. Biden Bro watching us from Tucson, Arizona. He says, I really want to move to the Northwest. Marita says she wants to move to Central Oregon. It's beautiful out there. And so thank you guys for watching.
And John says, I have known 2 people who've had COVID and they beat it, which is good. That is great. And Bryce says, thank you for you all. You keep me going in the morning and throughout my day. I am furloughed till October.
Oh, man.
And most crazy thing is out of touch with people in the community. Let's see, he's been a bartender for years, so this is super real.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your hard work.
We just had one of our most clicked on stories today is we really did a deep dive kind of into the emotional side of restaurant owners and you know, folks who work in bars and restaurants. They're really fearing a second kind of stay-at-home shutdown in Oregon if these cases continue to go the way they're going. And they say a lot of them just won't be able to handle it, and they're going to have to close down permanently. So I feel for all of those workers in that industry. This is tough, combined with, I mean, gosh, remember the mornings of just like watching the stock market plummet, plummet, plummet for days in a row. We were like busily learning about, you know, what is a circuit breaker and all this stock market language and unemployment numbers. Now I know every Thursday is when the report comes out from the employment department. And all of these things that
the stock market was down, what, 30% when this started? I mean, it is brutal. People who have invested through 401ks at the time, I mean, they were like, oh my gosh. You know, if you needed to pull that anytime soon, like you were retiring, it was absolutely brutal. People were despondent over that. I mean, it's definitely rebounded, but it's still not back where it was exactly. Diana Garnica Good morning to you. People don't realize that this is a real thing, real in all caps. We keep forgetting and are so used to our daily fast-paced routine, and we forget that this virus is here and anywhere at this point. We cannot forget that times are changing and our lives are changing. It is hard to kind of catch up with that reality.
Yeah.
I try just not to think about it. I'm like, this is the way it is. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to end. I know it will eventually, one day, but I try not to ruminate on what I wish would be happening.
I like Jennifer's comment. She says, anyone depressed, I find journaling helps.
That's
She's
good.
the one, and I know, Jennifer, you always tweet me some, she's a great, cartoonist almost, and caricature artist, and you draw some really, really great things that are very topical to the news and tweet them out, so I love seeing those. But I went to the store and I bought a little simple journal, and I started, because I was just thinking, you know, and we do so many stories. I love going down to like our archive tape room and seeing old stories that KGW did decades ago, and seeing, you know, just the way the city looked different and the way people were different, and silly things like hairstyles and what cars looked like and all that stuff. And so I was thinking, you know, what is a way? We are going through the most historic period ever, maybe. And what is a way to kind of document that in a personal way for my daughter?
Interesting.
And so I started writing a journal, maybe it was in May probably, and just writing like to her later about, you know, even just describing the simple things of like, you know, what does the grocery store look like? Because I think that would be, I would think that's fascinating, you know, in 30 years to read of, you know, what is it like to walk in a grocery store? Okay, you have to have a mask on. There's signs everywhere telling you have to go in a certain door and you have to go out a certain door, and you wipe down everything, and just the day-to-day lifestyle stuff that I think, you know, could get lost in history books. And I mean, now we're going to have, you know, so many great ways to document this, but I found a lot of help in kind of writing it down. But boy, handwriting nowadays, Brenda, because we type so much. My handwriting is horrible.
Right? So my kids, my oldest is 27, my youngest is 22. Keep writing in those journals. Girl, I cannot tell you how many journals over the years I have started and never finished.
I know, I'm afraid
you
I'm gonna
can
do that
borrow
too.
one of my journals because I have so many blank
So many
pages
blank
in them.
pages.
But you'll wish when Paloma gets to be that age, you will wish that you had it.
Yeah.
This is rough. Ellen Master, good morning to you. She said, I had just bought a travel franchise in November. Probably going to lose it.
What does that mean, travel franchise?
Well, it's probably like, you know, tour kind of companies through whatever, you know, franchise that she would be contracting with. Rose Portugal, the COVID-19 is giving everyone anxiety and on edge.
The Tom Hanks case really hit her too. Yeah, that was the one I was like, okay.
That got my daughter's attention. I'm like, what is your fixation with Tom Hanks? It's like, God,
Well,
is
it just
everybody's
means,
dad.
you know, like no one is too good, you know, like no one is immune to it. It just kind of really put it in perspective. But
you know what else is? I know this is kind of off topic because we're talking about COVID, but it is relevant. I think the thing that really pushed a lot of people over the edge was not only the pandemic, but then getting hit with all the racial tension and George Floyd. So it's like you're just piling on. All these problems are coming to a head at the same time, which really does seem overwhelming.
I didn't even think about that right now. But yeah, I mean, I was just, all my mind is on COVID. But yes, I mean, just the convergence of these two points of history coming together at the same moment is just wild. And I wonder, I mean, somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, do you think this racial justice movement would have been the same intensity if COVID hadn't happened first?
I don't
think so. You don't think so?
That's just my personal opinion, but I think that people had a lot of time on their hands to sit and reflect and watch what was happening, and there was a lot of just pent up energy, anxiety, and then when this hit, it was like the match
Unleashing,
to the dynamite stick. Yeah, no, I do. I think that absolutely had something to do with it.
I agree.
Right?
And then you think of like all the things that led up to that with the Ahmaud Arbery You know, I mean, all these
jogger in
little
Georgia.
things that happened just in the weeks before that kind of made that the perfect point,
Right.
you know, to launch this, unfortunately.
I mean, I hope
with
that
George Floyd.
in some way, shape, or form, part of me is not super optimistic that this will happen, because I think we tend to go back to our level after time. You know, each generation, you kind of forget those lessons, and
That's
then you
why
go
we're
back
still
to
here
whatever.
talking about this, yeah.
But I do think that the whole pandemic and having to shut down super busy, you know, frenetic lives, I think that that's been good for me personally in certain ways. Just taking a little bit more time, not to rush around constantly. We've been forced to, because there is nothing to rush around to, at least during the shutdown originally. And I do think that for my mental health and just for my ability to kind of regenerate and have a little bit of restorative time, that's been really important. I'm hoping that I'll keep that, you know, as the years go forward. I think I will.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes you appreciate every little non-essential trip, you know, and fun thing that we used to be able to do, for
100%.
sure.
100%. Let's see what other people are saying here. I got to put my glasses back on. Joshua Madrid says, it has been frustrating watching a global pandemic get turned into a political talking point. We should be better than this, yet here we are.
Tracy has a good idea for you, Brenda. She says, let your daughter finish writing in those journals. It would be special for maybe some grandchildren to read.
Oh, there you go. That is a good idea.
Kind of you started it and she takes it over. That'd be kind of cool.
Jennifer Taft also says, it helps even listing things, pros and cons, that frustrate and liking, you know, that could be something.
You know what is one silly thing? We've, you know, because you can't go anywhere. You can't take the kid to many, you know, fun places like we used to go, like OMSI, and we haven't gone to the zoo yet since it's been open. But we have been just like fully 100% going into our backyard project. And my husband this weekend was busy with the help of a contractor friend in the neighborhood building a shed for like the lawnmower and all that stuff to get out of our tiny little garage to make some room. And then we have been just planting. We're kind of doing like a tropical, we want to do kind of a cool, like lush plant backyard. And so I've been just nerding out on the internet looking for plants, you know, that'll survive our winter and our shade versus sun and all that. And we got a while back, maybe a couple months ago, a banana tree.
Oh, yeah.
It's called a hardy fiber banana. It will last through the Pacific Northwest winters, and it is super fast growing. And my husband and I have been talking about, like, that stupid tree has given us like so much happiness in the backyard, because my daughter, when we brought it home, we said, okay, why don't you name our tree? Like, what name would you pick? And she said, Honey. And so we call it Honey. And it's already, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 feet tall.
That's awesome.
And it has a bunch of leaves. And every day we look out there and there's like one unfurling. We're like, oh, Honey has a new leaf. And that dang tree has brought us like so much happiness. We sit out in our chairs and we just like stare at it.
Yeah. Aww.
Simple things like that, where, you know, maybe if I was busier, we wouldn't have got it, or we wouldn't be sitting in the backyard as much. So it is those like small, just slow it down.
It completely is. We're obsessed with the hummingbirds.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeff put up a hummingbird feeder, and now like literally we can be watching TV in the living room and we can see out, you know, kind of through a slider, sliding glass door. And he's like shiny object. He can't stop. Hey, he's back. They're back. And then we are the people in the neighborhood who we've turned the front yard kind of into a mini putting green, and so like we'll putt and chip and like leave the golf balls out there. I don't think the HOA likes us very much, but whatever. Yeah, but the same thing. It's all those little things, and like you hear the birds chirping, and we were sitting outside, and I don't even know what kind of bird it was, but they made in the spring like a little nest on the ground.
Oh, interesting.
And we had been there, it was covered by shrubbery, and we never noticed until we kept sitting out front. And we're like, why are those birds on the ground all the time? And there were 2 little baby birds in there that we never would have seen, because we would have been running back and forth to the car and inside the house. So I get you. I feel you, girl.
Nature. Yes, we are keeping an eye on Honey as she grows up in the backyard. Okay, you guys, we have to go and get ready for the Today Show news updates, but thank you so much for sharing. It has been a long and a short 6 months. I know we have gone through hell and back, and we're not done yet, so keep trucking, and we appreciate you always weighing in and chatting with us live. We'll see you tomorrow.